Welcome to Kev's Travel Stories. Each week I'll be bringing you a story from the weird and wonderful world of travel, a world that can change the way you see life and love and even the way we find meaning. Places that are iconic and sometimes surprising and even terrifying. So sit back and enjoy while we go on a magical mystery tour together. Welcome to Kevin's Travel Stories, and today we are going to look at something that is really extraordinary. Sustenance for the spirit, absolute blessings for the tired soul. Life, if you ever turn on the news, which I don't do anymore, I have to tell you, is very tough, and people are looking for an escape. I've done a separate podcast on the Via Francigena, which is the Italian equivalent of the Camino Way in Spain. And it is a fantastic route. And I covered Lucca to Siena. You can go all the way to Rome. So do check out that podcast if you're looking for a bit of spiritual sustenance, exercise, just getting in touch with nature. You cannot beat going on an old pilgrim route, 1,000 years old, the same route that Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo Buonarroti took. And we did Lucca to Siena. But I'm going to talk today about segment 92, which is from San Gimignano to Monteriggioni, two of the most beautiful cities I've ever been into, walled cities, walled towns, and it's the waterfall that I had this extraordinary, almost out-of-body experience. So let me just set the scene. We'd been 3 or 4 days on the walk. We started off by doing an awful lot. It's one of these guided walks. You're bust in and bust out. Maybe not for purists, but I found it was good. You do your 8 hours walking a day. We slightly overdid it the first day, so I had to take a day off. By the 4th day, we were in San Gimignano, which is the most incredible place. Very beautiful, really classy Italian town. Very ancient. Dante visited there. They had this huge row between the Guelphs and the Guindels, all this real sort of Romeo and Juliet story of two houses at war, towers higher so they could keep an eye on each other, and they kept killing each other. Dante was eventually brought in to try to sort of put some manners on them, but they eventually only stopped killing each other when the local government stepped in and said, you can't build any more towers. There's such beautiful art galleries and incredible ice cream. It's just the most wonderful, classy place. It's sort of the midway, the Col di Val d'Elsa, and it runs this route we're going to talk about. Segment 92 runs from San Gimignano to Monteriggioni, which is the most complete original walled battlements of a city anywhere in the world. Pretty much it's intact as it was hundreds of years ago. But the place you're going to really enjoy is this section where there is a river. Now, it's really, really well known. When you're walking and you're leaving San Gimignano, you can get a little cab out or you can walk out to the edge of this forest. It really is the moment you set foot in it. I don't know if you remember the Lord of the Rings when they set foot into the Forbidden Forest. It's a little bit like that. You go in and you suddenly, from the heat of the day, because a walk during the summer, you're out in the open, the heat's beating down on you. You'll see other walkers going along, and there's a bit of competition. There's a group of you, maybe 10 or 12, and you have to keep up, and it can be quite tough. It only takes an hour because it's only 3 kilometers long. The little walk between the edge of the forest to the other side where there's this incredible waterfall. It's just absolutely wonderful. And I've been to the incredible blue waterfall near Luang-Prabang, and I find this was more beautiful and more arresting. And I'll tell you why. It's really because there's not that many people there. When you go to the Diamond Waterfall, or some of these other big waterfalls, like the one in Canada, it's like the Victoria Waterfalls, these towering sheets of hundreds of tons of water dropping. But this was so much more subtle. First, you go into a wood. It's the Elsa River that you're following. The main drop, you're following a little drop about 15 kilometers over the 3 miles you're going to walk. And you're going over the Senti Elsa. It's little bridges. There's little rock pools and little rocks that you have to sort of balance your way over. I would take a couple of those walking sticks that you can get in Little Aldi or in outdoor shops. It really is good. It's only going to take this 3-kilometer walk, it's only going to take you like 45 minutes unless you stop and you spend some time. But firstly, let me just set the scene for you. Suddenly, the road and all the traffic has gone, and all you hear is the buzz of the insects, the bees and the butterflies, and then you hear the water, that rush of water, which actually is like someone just soothing your soul, putting a balm on your troubled soul. This is why people go on these walks, because they need to get away from the madness that is life, in a digital world, in an AI world where every second of your day is being attacked by an algorithm. They're trying to capture you. They're very powerful, they're very persuasive, and they're sometimes very successful. But there's nothing like we have to get away. And that's why we met so many other pilgrims on this walk who were just getting away. And it was so extraordinary. The highlight was to go into this wood. It was like going to an enchanted forest. It was like, Frozen. You just went into this area. Everything stopped, apart from the sound of water, the buzzing of the bees, and a sprinkle of the sunlight coming through the trees, because you were covered by a canopy of beautiful trees, and there was a sudden coolness. And this was the morning, late morning, and we just walked little paths, and then you cross the river, and then you walk alongside the river, and then there's another rock pool, and you go across that, and then you come to a rickety old wooden bridge, and you go across that. As it's going down and it's going up, whichever way you're coming, there's a little water terrace where the water goes over, and it was the most beautiful blue. It really was a balm for the soul. And when you get to the end, you get to the waterfall itself. And it was wonderful, because what we saw was the Via Francigena is not a big deal yet. It hasn't reached those horrendous Camino tailbacks of people like they're trying to get to the top of Everest. You now got crowds that have to be controlled. There's so many people there. Here it's not the case. And this little walk into the forest is just next to the Via Francigena, so it's even quieter. And the only people we really saw, apart from a few other tourists from Italy, France, America, just a few, were locals fishing. Locals taking a bit of time out. Locals just sitting with their families, paddling in the water, swimming in the water. Bring your swim trunks, you can swim it. But it's very clear. By the Elsa River is its official name, Cascata di Dobarato. What a wonderful name. And there you will enjoy this wonderful 1-hour nature detour off the Via. Follow the stream, the glades, the trees. A jewel at the end, this waterfall. And all I can say is it's been in my memory. And a couple of years ago when I was in Laos and I went to this incredible waterfall, which is actually blue, but it was so crowded. It was just coming down with people, and that took away from it. Here you can actually, there's no filter. You can actually be part of the Elsa River. The cascades. It's like those little fronds of sunlight that come through the trees and sort of dance on the water. And I find they were sort of dancing on my soul, lifting me up, making me feel at peace and more, wanting more, opening up, being quiet. And into that quiet came a real wonderful sense of wonder at the beauty that we're surrounded with. Whoever made that beauty, you can make up your own mind, but what beauty it was. And it's a memory that stays with me now. And even doing this podcast makes me feel quite emotional, because I remember that beauty. And isn't that the wonder of travel, that you get memories that will stay with you and feed you and nourish you for life?